Holy shit, I'm so proud of you guys. KP didn't break into the double digits in the voting. I love all of you. Hell, one of you guys who voted for KP asked if his vote could only count for her editors, and not her. So yeah, Silverquill will be advancing over Kim Flushable a lot. In the next round, Josh Scorcher, in a somewhat lopsided victory, prevailed over Brony Notion. Hey, I tried to get the Notion over. I put up his best footage, but sadly, it wasn't meant to be. You can't polish a turd. In the next bracket, Manga Common versus Dr. Wolf, and from the bottom of my heart, once again, I want to thank all of you guys, because the fans of Analysis Daily allowed me to give Dr. Wolf the bird. Manga Common is going to the semi-final round. Manga Common has just prevailed over a channel that is 10 times his size. Dear Dulcet Tones, don't tell me that upsets don't happen. Lightning Bliss rises over Rudolph in a somewhat heated affair. It's gonna be really interesting booking these four. But that's not this week. But that's not what this week is about. Please do not vote on any of those four people yet. There's no brackets. This week is the sub 5,000 analysis community. This went from slim pickings to an explosion of talent this time. I'm going to give you guys 2 weeks from the release of this video to vote. Next week, we're going to bring back the big boys. So remember, for each of these 8 brackets, you need to pick one person. So you're going to need 8 votes, like so. If you have any questions, ask before posting. Friendly reminder, we are now on day 6 of my copyright appeal, where Jerry sent his fake wife to strike my channel. See you down below. Geeky Steven versus Dulcet Tones.
An issue because most people really don't expect a whole lot from a parody series based on something they already watched. They just come to laugh and see someone take the absolute piss out of everything they love, and that's the end of that. As someone who's seen about 4 or 5 of these parodies on the other hand, Ultra Fast Ponies seems shallow at first glance, because again, the comedy is about 90% of the entire makeup of the thing, and when you put all your eggs in one basket, it gets a little bit samey, no matter how well that basket is put together.
Then again, there are times where they do go outside of the original stories, like the parody of the Cutie Mark Chronicles, which turns the story on how the main 6 got their cutie marks into a story on how the CMC turned them into babies.
We see that there are glowing crystals decorating the farm for the holidays. Later on in the same episode, we find that they have a mine where they dig up all sorts of crystals and gems. And this is the first and only time we've ever seen that the farm actually has a mine. Now we know that gems are actually pretty easy to find in Equestria. Rarity seems to find a new place to get them every season, often with Spike in tow, so I want to focus more on the aspect of the crystals within the mine. There's a bit of specific wording in the episode that I want to highlight.
No one's gonna mess with your precious mine.
Did you catch that? Specifically, Pinky said it was Limestone's mine, and even earlier in the episode we hear,
Ma and Pa may own this rock farm, but I keep it running.
Considering this, and that at no other point do we see the mine in the series, we can assume this is not only a recent addition to the farm, but it was
Midnight Chimes versus Gamelink's reviews.
Meaning that by the time she appears in the final scene, I'm just groaning and wishing she'd go away. And I don't want to feel like that about Pinky. She's one of my favourite characters.
Let's go with, you ruined everything all the time?
Mordpie, by contrast, is this story's saving grace. I've previously suspected that this character has Asperger's syndrome, a high-functioning form of autism, due to her deceptive inability to express emotion and her singular obsession with studying rocks. While exaggerated, these are both symptoms of Asperger's. Additionally, Maud experiences the difficulties in forming social bonds that those with Asperger's often struggle with, and which I myself can relate to. Of course,
For those who don't know, Storytime's a series of sketches Gordo makes where he takes popular moments from his favorite TV shows and plays, and he puts his friends in it. He's done Heathers, Hamilton, and even did one of Game Grumps starring me. Fun fact, that was actually the inspiration for Limbo Grumps. Speaking of a series I haven't done in a long time. Yeah, I'm too busy with this. Anyway, the series is personally one of my favorites from the Brony community. The way that Gordo is able to incorporate these funny moments and animate them somewhat is ingenious. Like here, Gordo was able to remake a Heather sketch about a broken coffee pot almost perfectly. Everyone was well casted and the facial expressions were nicely cherry-picked. And what's this? Oh yes, I am in this, playing the character Ram. But other than that beautiful cameo, Gordo really found his strength with this series.
Misanthro versus Event Horizon.
This is a situation where she needs to properly utilize everything she's learned over the course of the series and incorporate it into solving this particular problem. She expresses a passionate level of initiative towards providing for these animals, and her dedication towards giving them a sanctuary is very impressive. She also stands up for herself and doesn't hesitate when addressing the screw-ups made by those 3 throwaway characters. She approaches them with a sense of understanding, acknowledging that they worked on something, but she's also very firm in pointing out their poor collaboration skills.
What's the difference between this
I'm excited, but I'm a little nervous too.
and this?
To the big screen. My Little Pony.
The difference, My Little Ponies, is Equestria Girls looks like it was made by people who actually know how to make a movie. This does not look like 4 ponies flying into the distance. This looks like 4 drawings of ponies in an After Effects composition rotated 193 degrees. This doesn't look like a Rainbow Dash flying off screen. This looks like someone doesn't know how motion works and blurs the Rainbow Dash drawing too early.
Fatmanfalling versus Razor Reviews.
Yeah, that. And then in Season 5, we got Hearthbreakers, which introduced 2 new Pie Sisters whose introductions were shoddily handled, to put it generously. Great, we have a mean one and a shy one. Discount Diamond Tiara and discount Fluttershy. Wonderful. But you know what? They can build on that later, I guess. Right? Fast forward to Season 6, then we get the gift of the mod fucking pie.
Daisy pie.
Yeah, I know. Never mind. The point being, we have 2 other Pie Sisters in desperate need of some characterization. And now mods moving to Ponyville?
More like Ponyville adjacent.
Or Ponyville adjacent? So the odds on getting a little screen time for the other sisters just tanked.
And one of the main ways to get that approval was through assessments. I never expected to see this problem hinder Twilight again and again, but I think it's a good thing, since some personality quirks are virtually unable to get rid of, and Twilight having said trait will give her more opportunities for new episodes, which is always good. As an aside, I like how everyone on the show's staff have basically all but given up trying to give Cadence a veneer of character, because she still has next to none. After 3 seasons and a finale, they still have no idea what to do with her. Which is a shame, because Cadence at this point is a clean slate. They could literally do whatever they want with the character, but they almost stubbornly decide not to touch her. Something I've taken to notice is that the 3rd episode of every season tries to experiment with the animation, and this episode is no exception. This time around, it seems that they are trying to work on depth and angles.
Spirit Productions versus Tricky Fox.
I know that I already mentioned him as part of the main 6, but frankly, so far he was nothing more than a tag-along kid. When the main 6 do something, he is often not around. Sometimes they explain why, other times he is just not there, putting him in a similar position to Starlight. And he doesn't really interact that much with most of them either. He only spends time with Rarity and Twilight, and the one time they tried to team him up with Applejack made no one happy. Not to mention that the entire group tends to patronize him a lot. Even Twilight and Rarity. On the other part, his relationship with Starlight is rather different. They seem to be genuine friends, and they treat each other as equals.
And engaged. So where does MLP fit into this? While upon first glance the show would appear to have very little substance, MLP has been shown to have very adult themes. Themes like loss, morality, and even death have been displayed in the show. Not so much that it would be inappropriate for younger kids, but just enough so that it provides everyone enough food for thought. The original creator, Lauren Faust, even stated that she wanted to create something that all ages would enjoy, so why is it that people would still think the show is just for kids? Despite examples such as Futurama, South Park, and Archer being many one of the purely adult cartoons, the friendly-for-all TV shows have unfortunately been pushed aside as nothing more than child's entertainment. To put it simply, while we might expect something childish from shows like My Little Pony, it's really a matter of whether the show wants to be entertaining for all. While it's been mentioned countless times before, there is a matter of judging a book by its cover, and I do think that it applies here.
Ryley Percival Miller versus the editor.
Can I? Not true. I've managed to fool myself into believing many things in the past. Anyways, we begin this episode with a long-awaited moment finally coming to fruition.
You mean... Rainbow Dash, you're finally a full-fledged Wonderbolt! Woohoo! Yeah, Rainbow Dash! Woo!
what she said.
Ugh. Now that brings up repressed memories. No, Pinky, no! Why? After arriving at the Wonderbolt's headquarters, Spitfire starts showing Rainbow Dash around the premises and reminds her of the most basic of lessons.
Don't forget rule number 1, newbie. Always check both ways before crossing the runway.
I smell a plot point!
Personal reason?
Such as?
Well, besides the fact that Flam is voiced by Scott McNeil, my favourite voice actor. Even if his character is a bit of a jerk.
Right. Well, I, for one, don't like the fact that they're back one bit. Ever since Super Speedy Cider Squeezy 6000, these guys have been unlikable villains. And once again, they sing their signature smooth talk and, oddly enough, upbeat, crowd-stirring musical number.
Gray Silvermane versus Mrleftturn.
Yep. And Starlight keeps on jarring her anger to the point
I love it when she can pop in from nowhere and give us some good humor, but there is such a thing as too much. Pinkie Pie should have been dialed down a bit once Maud and Starlight started to hang out together. Thankfully though, she did get called out on it and promised to let Maud bond with Starlight on her own. Now that we've gotten over the pink elephant in the room, the rest of the episode was amazing. Yes, Pinkie's self-inserts into the scenes of Maud and Starlight hanging out is really my only complaint about rock-solid friendship. I know it was completely out of left field, but I really loved the reveal of having Maud inadvertently assisting Starlight with overthrowing her village, and of course the joke of Starlight waiting for Maud to say something so she didn't have to say she forgot when she met her before.
Deckard Spade versus Sharpwit.
At least shifted to a scene where she's doing some research before she plays with a dangerous spell. For me, this is what breaks both the pace and the immersion of the episode. Now we already know the results of the spell gone wrong. 5 of the main 6 end up with the wrong cutie mark, and none of them are happy about it. And somehow Pinkie almost loses the farm? I'm not sure how that can happen over the course of 2 days. Not to mention, Big Mac and Granny Smith are both capable of running the farm by themselves. It's like they stare at Pinkie and just wonder, wait, let's see how bad this can get.
Wasn't maybe the smartest move, but knowing her parents, maybe Dash thought that talking won't work. Which is why, although I said she was not wrong, she was also not correct. What she did is just another form of bottling up emotions. Instead of trying to deal with the problem and make her parents stop, she just fled. Fled and bottled up her anger and shame. For years those emotions were sitting quiet. When her parents found out about the Wonderbolt's business, all of them were back, stronger than ever, until they've all burst out. And although I like the symbolism in All Bottled Up, this time the situation is more true to real life by showing the possible negative outcome.